Shalom, shalom, shalom. Fresh off of a good shower after working out. Man, I want to talk on conviction. What's your conviction? What is it? What's yours? Um, I see so many people convictions are they don't eat meat. Man, that's great for you, man. That is so great. But why do you put such a heavy on those that don't have the same conviction? And even to the point that you try to make it a sin. I'm like ignoring that. You worship Yahusha or you accept Yahusha. Yahusha ate fish. So, okay, isn't that meat? Oh, what about the Passover? Oh, Moshe had the folks eating the Passover lamb. Ain't that meat? Oh, oh, there's so many times in the text that you see people eating on meat. No, they don't make that the priority, but that they eat meat. And I would say that the best way to eat is probably vegan and vegan and fruit for most people. But it's not a sin, and some people basically have the blood type where they need to eat a little protein. But y'all put a heavy on folks because of your conviction. Okay, there are people that say, well, man, I don't watch no movies. I don't watch no TV. But is it a sin to watch movies and TV? Man, I'm like, they work hard. They deal with ministry all the time, and so they just want for leisure. And people say that's a waste of time. Well, you determined that that's a waste of time for you. That's your conviction. Why are you whooping on that other person that are not convicted about that? Somebody may basically have an escape for a moment playing video games. But they productive in their regular life. They got a good job, making money. They minister. They do take care of their family. And they may play a game for a moment. You got people that may dance. Or, because your conviction says, oh, that's something I can't do. Or something that I don't feel comfortable doing. Why are you beating up on people? I get it. If it's something that's definitely a sin, then okay, so be it. But if it's not, I'm like, I myself, I gave up drinking a long time ago. I don't drink. That's my conviction. But man, it said Yahusha turned water into wine at a wedding. And they basically was like, man, hold on. Why'd you bring out the best wine at the end of the wedding? So these folks was getting tossed up. And then he turned the water to wine, and he like, man, this wine is excellent. And so it wasn't just grape juice. It was fermented. He didn't just, that was water that turned to wine. It was fermented. Those folks could have gotten drunk. No, you shouldn't get drunk. But it wasn't nothing wrong with them drinking. And if Yahusha, if basically being who he is, if it was a sin, why would he turn it to wine? Why would he obey his mother at that time? Come on now, y'all tripping. And sometimes when a person grieving, or even if somebody got a sickness, sometimes wine or beer is a help. It's medicinal. Sometimes y'all put a heavy on people too much on stuff that really, it ain't even your business. It ain't your business. Man, a husband and wife enjoying themselves in their bedroom. People want to say, oh, you better just do missionary. It's like, dude, get out of their bedroom. I get it. It's some stuff that maybe is nasty or whatever, or a stretch, but that's between them and y'all. That ain't on me. I'm not trying to run somebody's bedroom. I got my own bedroom to deal with. You gonna stay out of mine. You gonna stay out of mine. I wish somebody would try to infer or come in my household and try to dictate what I'm gonna do. You might see a part of me that you ain't never seen before. Mind your darn business, for real. I ain't playing with that one, for real. Don't play with that one. I like to play spades. Spades is my game. Some people, oh, it's a sin to play cards. I'm like, man, they may be convicted to do, that's their conviction. I don't see it. Oh, playing dominoes. Oh, no, you can't do that. I'm like, show me a text that say that. I'm like, they cast lots in the Bible. I'm like, so show me where you can't play dominoes, where you can't play cards. Show me where you can't dance. I can't dance. I can't dance at all. But I ain't finna get mad at somebody else. Oh, the dancing is a sin. You know, I don't need to see all the lewdness and stuff like that. I'm like, but if we go back to the old days in history, we see that our people was doing some of these same dances. I'm like, man, I was amazed to look at some old videos, and I was like, man, they was twerking back then. It's just now we done made it so lewd and stuff like that. And I'm like, in my time frame, I'm like, I remember Uncle Luke like it wasn't nothing. Even though, I can't dance. But that ain't for me. I'm not trying to tell, if a husband and wife is getting a slow grind on and they enjoying themselves, some of these dances look very seductive or whatever. But hey, I'm like, hey, I'm taking that home. I'm taking that energy home, and I'm gonna enjoy my wife. Hey, I ain't thinking about that woman and that man right there. I'm thinking about, hey, baby, let's go. No, somebody gonna probably get mad and say, oh, you lusting. I ain't thinking about them. I'm thinking about my wife. Mind your business. Man, there's so much stuff, people be convicted of. Oh, man, he bought that car. He don't need that car. If he can afford it and he handling all his business, if a person is a good steward and they decide to do something extra, mind your business. Now I see if that person is constantly coming to beg money for you and stuff like that, and begging and stuff like that, and then they go get something that, that's very expensive, now that right there, you might want to have something to say with them on that. But otherwise, if they can afford it, leave them alone. They work for that. Hopefully they not falling in love and, and worshiping, the material things. But I'm like, man, we get to enjoy what the work of fruit of our labor. I'm like, hey, I sell garments and stuff like that. I'm happy that people buy. I don't want nobody to spend their last on something that I'm selling. But they should be able to buy something because so we're going to just buy the base thing. We might as well just walk around here and wear brown paper bags then. If you want to make it like that, you want to beat people up for enjoying themselves here on earth. I get it. This is not the final destination. The Shamayim, the heaven on earth is going to come. But while we here, we still should be able to enjoy some of the labors still even now. It's not like that our Father doesn't own all of this stuff. And if we gonna work, I'm like, should we work ourselves like a dog? We should get some enjoyment, but of course, be good stewards over it. Be good stewards. Back to the other though. I'm like, it's so many different things that people don't do and put a heavy. Yes, we should study. But a person that does study, if they want to take a break and watch some TV, leave them alone. Oh, well, look at what they watching. Okay. Why are they watching it? Do you know? I'm like, it's a lot of information out here that basically if you just stay in a hole and don't know about it, I'm like, you wouldn't know what's going on. Oh, it's a person watching the news. I'm like, I didn't have a clue about this submarine stuff. Not a clue. But best believe, it's like, okay, when I heard about it, I'm like, interesting. I'm like, my thing was, when I heard about it, I'm like, what are they trying to distract us from? It must be something else more important going on. And then I found out what? They legalized making lab meat. And I get it. That probably really appeases a lot of the people who don't believe in people eating meat. So, yeah, I'm going to be very cautious. We buy most of our meat from a farm anyway. So, I'm already been, backing off of the stores. A lot of us, we look at, a lot of the fruits and vegetables and stuff like that. And a lot of that stuff is horrible in itself. Because where are you getting it from? If you ain't planting it and raising it yourself, it's likely garbage. All it is probably nitrogen, and it doesn't have any nourishment in it at all. I'm like, shoot, you go over there into Israel and you see that stuff you be having grapes as big as almost knuckles and stuff, just big. But you get the grapes over here, and that it don't be nothing. We need to basically stop tripping on some of the stuff. And actually, investigate to find out what's going on and get more details. If a person is watching a movie, what are they doing? Sometimes I got a sister on here that basically she be watching, her and her husband watch movies, and they be telling almost all of the spiritual implications of it after watching the movie. And so basically, they let people know what to be looking forward to, and almost they've been on point on a lot of stuff. And them not watching the movies, they've been at it. They basically watchmen. They watching the movies and they giving people information, and people go see the movie, and then it basically had them alert and ready for what's going on. I'm like, this whole COVID-19 thing, it was in movies beforehand. They basically laid it out and showed you what. So if you say, oh, don't watch any movies, I get it. Some people should not. That's their conviction. That's how they make up. But other folks have to be on task and do what they're supposed to do. They say, oh, it's a lot of people that don't like rap. They don't like rap. Certain rap is garbage to me. But then other is ministry. Some people don't like certain things, and that is their conviction. You should not beat somebody up because of what they like, especially if it's not a sin. You need to do more investigating, or actually, basically, sweep at your own doorposts. Clean up your own door before you start trying to mind somebody else. You're up there saying, oh, man, they grass green in the mug, or they grass getting brown, but your grass look like heck. Handle your own before you start dealing with somebody else. Start dealing with the speck in your eye, and actually you got a big old plank, and started dealing with somebody else on the conviction. A lot of this stuff that y'all be beating people up on ain't even nothing wrong with it. And especially, it'd be so many different things. Like, oh, look, hold on, my head bald. I done had so many people tell me my head being bald is a sin. And I'm like, show me a text. And every time they show me a text, it says something about, that, basically is dealing with when you cut into the skin. It has nothing to do with bald. You even see one of the prophets was bald, to the point that you had little kids calling him Baldy. And what happened? He cursed them, and bears came out and ate him. Him being bald was not a sin. If you had leprosy, you're supposed to cut off all your hair. You're built bald. There's actually oaths that people make that they would cut off their hair. So being bald is not the problem. Even they try to shame people for not having beard. I know so many people that can't even grow. They can't grow facial hair. So what? Now they in sin because you don't have no facial hair. My job, I can't wear fringes all the time. I don't have fringes on right now. But I do wear fringes a lot of times. I wear zeet-zeets. But I don't wear them all the time. Oh, you in sin. Where am I in sin? I have a remembrance of the commandments. Most people on here see I walk and talk about the commandments all the time. So, come on. You're doing too much. You got people that's walking around with the fringes and up here beating up people and going off on people, cussing and doing everything else, and yet they think them fringes make them holy. Obeying the law is more than just an outward appearance. And your conviction should be your conviction. If something hits you and say, okay, that's wrong, I better fix that, then fix it. But don't get mad at others because they don't see with the importance of what you see as important at the moment. It may not be their season or time for that. I'm like, seriously, when I came into the awakening, my wife was behind me on that. So I stopped eating certain things. And so she like, well, what you doing? I stopped dealing with certain holidays. She like, what you doing? And I could have easily scarred her and made it where she didn't want to follow me if you gonna do this. But no, she seen my example and I loved her through it. And as I kept walking in my conviction, she became convicted. Not me trying to run a guilt trip and manipulate her and force her into doing what I'm doing. She seen me walking out my conviction. She seen me put away shellfish. That the basis of our marriage, we started off some of our first dates was eating crab legs. All you can eat crab legs. That was our main dates were eating crab legs. So what? When I stopped doing it, it shocked her. She like, what? You don't want to eat no crab legs no more? We love crab legs. I'm like, baby, I don't want them roaches from the sea no more. She like, So she didn't stop immediately. And I didn't sit up there, you eating them nasty crap. I didn't say nothing about it. I didn't say nothing because we enjoyed it. We have so many memories of us being before some crab legs. Yes. And yes, I know it's abomination. And I know some people going to judge me and say, oh, but that's where I was then. I'm not there now. I've been away from that for a good while. And so now, even when I see somebody in there still stuck on that, I don't beat them up. Now, I definitely would have a problem if a leader in Israel was making it like those things were okay. If they were trying to say, oh, by grace, I would have a problem. But when a layman or somebody that's beginning, someone who's just freshly awakened, I'm just like, okay. And I may have a conversation with them, but I'm not going to beat them up because they don't know yet. They're just learning, and you may scare them off. What you're saying may have some legitimacy. You know, I get it. The vegan lifestyle is probably the best lifestyle. But I'm not there yet. And it's not a sin for me to eat meat. But I'm definitely, knowing that vegetables and fruit, which I eat a lot of, are very good for you. Very good for you. But that's not my everyday diet. And so when someone tries to convict me and try to make me think that it's a sin, and I'm like, I know better. You're not really doing nothing to me, but you're making me see that you're trying to manipulate me. And so you're actually severing the relationship because I see that you are thinking about yourself in the moment and how it is dealing with you. Your conviction is what's bothering you. Yah hasn't showed me anything like that. That's not where I'm at. And hey, if you don't eat meat, if you came over my house and and I knew it offends you, I would put meat away. But I'm not going to stop eating meat totally just so that I can fall in line with you. That's not what it's supposed to do. My life is not supposed to be governed by you. My life is supposed to be governed by Yah. My wife's life is governed by Yah. When I stop doing certain things, yes, I'm her lead. But she has to gain trust in me in those areas, especially when it is a change. I changed. I went from doing one thing to doing another. I left her behind. She was in marriage. We, like I said, shellfish, crab legs, that was our thing, shrimp. And once I seen it was wrong, I went away from it. And when I went away from it, I had to explain to her what I was doing and take time. That's love. If you just go away from something and basically, shun a person, how you expect to win them? That's not gonna work. When I stopped celebrating the holidays, I explained it and I showed her in text where it was, and I didn't beat her up. Even with my children, I had to apologize to my children because as they, basically came up as Christians, I went away from that. So I basically, into something completely different, and they're like, man, you are all out in Christianity, so now you're all out for this. What's next? Are you going to leave this and go to someone else? And so they like, they didn't feel like, that it was right that I was basically jumping from one thing to the next thing to the next thing in their eyes. And I'm like, no, I matured. I see the truth, and so I'm walking in the truth. I don't want to force this on you, but I'm going to show you something different. And as they watched, they began to understand and comprehend. You got to give them time. You cannot just force your conviction on somebody. And even if it benefits you, that does not mean it'll benefit them. I've seen people that fast, and they've forced people or convinced somebody to fast, and that person passed out. Fasting is good. But a person that has never fasted should not go at the level that someone who has experience of years of doing it. You got to take baby steps into doing things. And you shouldn't be doing something because a man led you to. Yah should be the one leading you. The Ruach HaKodesh should be leading you. It shouldn't be because I said do it. That's not love. That's not long suffering. That's not patience. It may be a wise thing that you fast, but if you have not went about the process of building up to it, you're going to hurt yourself. you're going to hurt yourself. All right, well, I just wanted to just talk on this thing, conviction. And whatever your conviction is, I have no problem with you being there. But don't impose that on other people. You know, you might have a suggestion and talk to them, but don't force it on them, and don't sever your relationship with someone just because they don't live exactly like you. You know, you could find some people that think like you, but you're going to lose your opportunity to minister to people if you cut off everybody that's not doing exactly what you're doing, and especially if what they're doing is not a sin. If it's sin, I get it. You can cut that off, or if you do that, I'm not going to even have a discussion on it or nothing. But if it's not sin, come on now. Stop trying to force the issue. This vegan thing, I'm not saying it's not a bad, I'm not saying it's not a good lifestyle to have, but you can't make somebody feel guilty because, oh, you eat meat, that's a sin. Where is that at? That's not nowhere in the text that's a sin. I get it if you're talking about stuff that's unceremonial clean. I mean, that's not ceremonial clean. The defiled stuff, that's not really meat. That's not even food. That's waste management. But food, and it's ceremonial clean, leave those people alone. Let Yah deal with them. All right, shalom. Hallelujah.